Hiya folks, I'm Grim and welcome to Grim Grooves. Today we'll be checking out Messmer the Impaler from Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, one that I've been requested a number of times. I've done a few songs from Soulsborne games so far, but I just haven't gotten around to this one yet. But I've always been meaning to, so here we are. But make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to see all the new stuff I've got coming in the future, and you can request more of this game and other Soulsborne games if you like down below, or if you want it immediately, you can put it on my Patreon. I'll do it probably the next day. But without further ado, let's check out Messmer the Impaler, the boss theme from Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. And chanting right off the jump. They always have such a fantastic composition, every single one of these games, and the songs from them. I mean, starting out and you have that kind of cello melody, and then it gets repeated by a violin, and there's just different elements that are kind of repeating the same melody, but also adjusting it in different ways, and then growing it in different ways, and more instruments join the fray. And I mean, starting off again with the kind of Latin style chanting in the back of the mix kind of thing. It was really interesting, and I'm sure they're going to build it back in, because I mean, Latin chanting is something that's almost in almost every single Soulsborne game. You kind of have to have it, but I'm curious where this will grow to. The way that the string instruments were all kind of growing and kept getting more and more intense, and then it kind of just cut off entirely and built into this kind of, again, Latin style chanting. It's just always so beautiful, and that kind of the way that they built that crescendo and then kind of stripped it all away and just went straight for this kind of vocal section. And like, we still have some strings in the background, some instruments, but it was just a really cool transition there. Everything back in. It's like this is the same section we had before, that like little breakdown where it kind of built and stuff, but now there's like an undercurrent of an even deeper kind of melody. Like, I don't know if it's a cello, because it's like a really deep bassy instrument. It might be a double bass, but there's just some extra instrument kind of in the back there, adding to that kind of percussion, that kind of bassy feeling to it. And then these, again, cascading string melodies and the beautiful vocals from who is vocalizing here. Again, I never know who the actual singers are for these games or anything like that, but they're doing a fantastic job. I mean, they always find fantastic singers for these, and fantastic composers, obviously, too. That's really interesting. I mean, even this part, I'm sure it's going to build into something crazy after this, but just kind of, again, stripping just about everything else away, and then just having like a basic kind of string melody and the drums, like these hugely impactful drums. I mean, Souls games always have music that seems so grand, so grandiose, so impactful, like so epic. And this definitely is no different. Like this definitely feels like a royal theme of some kind. Like again, fighting against royalty, fighting against a king, a lord, something like that. Like just there's definitely some kind of like imperial elements to this, or like again, imperial fanfare, like the type of thing you would see like in a medieval story where there's a king marching down a group with all the guards on every side, and like just how epic this is. That's what it feels like, or like some kind of giant battle is about to take place, and this is the theme for it. I guess that is the case. What? Phase 2? Interesting. It's that bass. Definitely ramped up the intensity quite a bit. I mean, everything's a lot more heavy, everything is a lot more bassy. It's just so many different string melodies going on here, and it's just cascading around, like swirling around you, and just getting more and more intense as we go. It's really cool. Interesting that like string melody, like ba 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 ba. It's almost like a horror theme now. Like it's like before you were fighting some grand battle against some like incredibly skilled knight that's really honored within the realm or something like that, and now all of a sudden you're fighting a monster. Like it's completely different. Things have changed. Things are much darker and much more terrifying at this point, and it just keeps going, just keeps getting more intense. It's crazy. It's interesting how sparing they're being with the vocalizations at this point. I mean, for the first part of the song, it just seemed like they were there for the majority of the part, like the song. Just a lot of kind of Latin chanting, Latin kind of vocalizations, or even just vocalizations. I don't know if there's really a lot of lyrics in this, not that I can tell necessarily, but the Latin or the kind of the choral chanting that keeps coming in, it was a lot more prevalent in the first half of the song, and now it seems like they're very strategically placing it at certain moments to kind of emphasize that moment in the song or that moment in the fight or whatever. Like as the string melodies continue to swirl around and the kind of double bass melody comes in there and just brings that kind of intensity, that raw intensity of the like bassy elements of this instrument. And then the choir comes in every once in a while, just little bits here and there, and just kind of helps emphasize like the intensity of this whole thing. But definitely feels much more like a horror theme at this point. as we finished with just a swirling string melody like that again. Very beautiful. I mean, stripping away everything else. There's definitely a lot of intensity, but it was a beautiful melody throughout this entire thing. It just was really intense. And in the last half, it really ramped up that intensity and got really insane. I mean, it just kept hitting, kept growing and getting more intense and more crazy. And the vocalizations were absolutely phenomenal. I mean, they always are in Soulsborne games. Every time I've heard them, they always pick fantastic singers to do these kind of choir-like parts, and just like the resonance on their voice and like the intensity that they bring. It's always so like almost ethereal, almost godlike, almost angelic. But then, like in the first half of the song, it definitely had that kind of quality to it. But as we went further, it was almost like they became a little more evil, a little more demonic or something like that, a little darker, because the song itself got so much more intense. Like the entire thing, even the swirling string melodies, they became a little bit more discordant, a little bit more like unsettling, I guess, as it went on. And again, it's like the first half you're fighting like an honored knight or something like that of the realm, and the second half you're fighting now like a crazy demon of some kind, and you're just fighting for your life at this point. And it's just, the music kind of feels that way anyways. And it's just really, really intense. It keeps building that intensity until the very end, where it just kind of strips away everything and just has that string melody, as you have like the remnants of the rest of the music just kind of trailing on. I'm sure in the game that probably loop to the next, like the beginning of the song again and just play again or something like that. But it was absolutely phenomenal. Like, I'm glad you guys suggested this one, because that was a really cool song. That just really blew me away. But anyways, thanks for hanging out watching my reaction. If you liked it, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. And until next time, later days, folks.